Hi, everybody. I'm Anthony Burrows with another post regarding life and finances with sacrifice and service. Now, today's issue for exploration is why pay yourself first? Why pay yourself first? In last week's post, I emphasized that the first step towards financial freedom begins with the consistent practice of paying oneself first by immediately putting away 10% of your earnings before making any type of bill payment. I can recall myself as a younger, ignorant adult. Whenever payday was approaching, I would sit down the day before, make a list of every bill or anticipated expenditure for the upcoming month. In those days, there were no online banking, and only wealthy persons, so I thought, had checking accounts. On payday, I would stand on a long line in the bank, withdraw 95% of my salary, after which I'd drive around the city. First stop, the power company. Second stop, water and sewer. Followed by a visit to the landlord, fill the car with gas, pay school fees, pay your gym fees, get a haircut, pay the phone bill, purchase 50 blocks and cements for the house I was building at the time. My final payment was to a local law firm for completing the deeds to the property that I was building my house on. At that time, I had a single deduction coming out of my salary, which was my car payment. On the weekend at church, I would place my 10% in the offering plate. After covering my bills, I felt a sense of accomplishment and security. But that didn't change the fact that I was still dead broke 1 week later. The comfort and security I felt at the time was due to my thinking that all of my bills were paid up. My error, like many of you, was that I had misplaced priorities. I thought that tithe, banks, landlords, and utilities came first because that's what a man does, take care of his responsibilities. This type of security is what I refer to as the treadmill syndrome because it unwittingly keeps a person as well as a people in bondage. This faithfulness to bill paying is no doubt commendable, but the principle is an upside down one in that everybody else was taken care of, but I left out the most important person, and that was me. If you give this serious thought, what I was doing bordered on criminality or dereliction of duty, to say the least, in that I wasn't properly looking out for my family's future. Taking a vacation or going out for dinner and extra activities was out of the question because there was nothing left of my salary. It now makes more sense as to why we ended up divorced, probably. There were no disposable funds and we didn't have the extra activities, so this may have contributed to it. Living that type of financial existence is just difficult. Therefore, I understand why as a nation we are in a perpetual financial free fall. Everyone is running around and blaming our current individual as well as national financial plight on the coronavirus. Earlier in the year, the Guardian business section ran a story which pointed out that more than 90% of Bahamians had less than $1,000 in their bank account after working for many years. In the event of a rainy day or emergency in the event of an emergency such as a busted water heater, a dead battery, or like what's going on now, a job loss, that's 90% of us would have extreme difficulty making it from day to day, all because financially we were not ready. We weren't financially prepared because we bought too much house, maxed out our credit cards, and did not bother with a rainy day fund. We bought houses that take up to 65% of our monthly income to pay for, with very little left for food and other necessities. When the credit card company increases our spending limit, we take it as license for spending. While traveling this country, take a look at the buildings that banks and insurance companies occupy. They have the nicer buildings in the country, and it's not by chance. Always be mindful that banks are not your friend. They are a necessary evil, but be cautious when dealing with them. I have an entire post coming up not too far from now on banks and banking, so stay tuned for that. Again, I'll reflect on another personal experience of mine. Some years ago, the starter in my car just stopped working. Fortunately, the vehicle was a stick shift, so wherever I went, I parked on hills and rises, which enabled me to get a rolling start. I did that for an entire month because I didn't have a rainy day fund. Like a Joneser, I was waiting for payday. Many of us are like that. We are living from paycheck to paycheck. And it's normally because of us living right at or beyond our means. In most cases, as we earn, we spend, and sometimes we spend more than we earn. The sad dilemma is as we the people do, so does our businesses and governments. For almost 30 years now, for almost 30 years now, just like us the people, the government has been living month to month with loans on top of loans with little or nothing to show for it. Many businesses have permanently closed their doors because of this month to month financial syndrome. A famous saying among government employees is, there's more month than money. So from now on, before you spend another dollar, sit down and figure out what you wish for your money to do for you. Stop the talk where you pacify yourself into thinking that you deserve it because you work hard, or the shadowy fear of thinking that if you don't go here or if I don't do that, you'll miss out on something. This kind of thinking usually causes people to have plenty of fun, only to end up at the end of the day flat broke with nothing to show for their consumption of time and space on planet Earth. I am not saying that we shouldn't have fun or that money is the sum total of life. What I am saying is, if you're earning an income, then you must make preparation for the caring of yourself and of offsprings if you have any. The Bible says that a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. What I wish for you going forward is that you will take stock of where you are with your finances and begin organizing it in such a way that money will no longer be a major worry and bills will no longer be a reason for existing. If you haven't already start today by setting aside 10% of every paycheck you receive with the expectation that it will become your rainy day fund / emergency fund, whatever you wish to call it. There are two schools of thought as to the goal of your rainy day fund in terms of the amount that should be in it. There are persons who believe that you should save up to the equivalent of 3 months' pay, while others say 3 months' worth of expenses. Expenses, as I have, are bills over the monthly cycle, excluding investments and savings. So figure out what suits you best. For most people, it's easier to save 3 months' worth of expenses as opposed to saving the equivalent of 3 months' salary. As for our governments not having a rainy day fund, pray for our Prime Minister that he receives sound godly counsel to enable him to guide us as a nation to the other side of this pandemic / economic depression. Many years ago, I was far from home and things were low and slow. Just then, I received this poem in the mail from one of my brothers as encouragement. Please indulge me for a moment to allow me to read a portion of it for you. It goes like this. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trotting seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of clouds of doubt. You never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse that you mustn't quit. And that's written by Edgar Albert Guess. Instead of a book of the week, I'm asking that everybody go to the site getmoneysmartbahamas.com, a site hosted by the central bank. Scroll down and you shall see several topics to select from. But in this instance, I'm asking that you choose financial literacy. For some, going to this site will be a life-changing experience regarding the understanding and handling of your money. Please leave comments and questions, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, may the God of heaven bless and prosper you.